All right, so I've been spreading the agenda recently that open world games need to stop. Maybe not like all the way, but I am kind of getting tired of open world games that are just open world for the sake of being open world. I mean, you have games like God of War that is so structured to the point where it's just like kind of unplayable when you go back to play it, at least for me. But then you have games like The Last of Us has more of a open world system without being completely open world. You have like Sekiro or the other Souls games besides Elden Ring. Then you have games like GTA, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Spider-Man, which still work as open world games. So the question is, what's going on with these open world games? Because I'm a firm believer that Elden Ring, while a great game, the biggest flaw of that game was being open world. So we're gonna watch this video from Gaming Bolt called 10 single player games that should never go open world, and we're gonna see what we think about that. Let's slide into it. No pause.
We absolutely love open world games here at Gaming Bolt, and we're far from being alone in that. From the level of freedom they promise to the amount of content they deliver, there's plenty to love about them. Or,
if
well,
they're
at
done
least
right,
when they're well designed,
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
At the same time, though, we're also firm believers that there are certain games and certain types of experiences that absolutely should not be open world, either because of their pacing, their focus, their design philosophies, or any number of other reasons. There are some franchises that we feel would lose themselves a little bit if they decided to go open world.
Am I recording?
Here, we're going to talk about a few such franchises.
Resident Evil being one of them, yeah.
Resident Evil.
Exactly. If this ever goes open world, I'm just going to give up on the series. Probably not, but it wouldn't make sense.
Oh, shit. Go on ahead. I'll meet you at the station.
What's up with these graphic settings?
The idea of a survival horror game that takes place in a large and open setting and offers the freedom of an open world game. The Evil Within 2 semi-open world sections, for instance, are among the game's highlights. On the ceiling? But Resident Evil most certainly isn't a franchise that should veer into that direction. The level design is always a core pillar of any Resident Evil game.
I remember fighting Mr. X for the first time. Oh my god!
With their meticulous design is always a massive part of the experience. Going open world would dilute that massively, to say the very least. Resident Evil Village's hub and spoke did, to be fair, boast more open-ended design on a macro level, and yes, the game was better for it, but we wouldn't want to see a Resident Evil game trying to take that design philosophy to its absolute extreme.
Like that was just enough in my opinion.
Dead Space.
And Dead Space did a good job of that too. I played the remake. That was my first time playing the game, and I loved how they did the world. It was open enough, but not too open. Like not completely free roam, but like, you know, it was self-contained, and I liked that.
Going from one survival horror franchise to the next, Dead Space is another one that seems ill-suited to open world design. Atmosphere and claustrophobia are elements that are embedded deep in Dead Space's DNA, and that, of course, is antithetical to open world experiences.
Nah, man, I want to get 5 stars and get space chase in this game.
From the Ishimura to the Sprawl, this is a series that has built its identity around putting players in expertly crafted and horrifically realized settings. And it's hard to imagine a Dead Space game that manages to achieve that while also being open world.
Yeah, I wouldn't play an open world Dead Space. I'm just being real. I would not play it. I wouldn't even buy it. I wouldn't pay no money for it. It's been forever since I played one of these games. Like, holy shit.
Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell lives under constant threat of being turned into an open world series. And while an open world stealth game is certainly not the most alien idea, that might not be what most people want to see.
Wouldn't like it. I like linear games like this.
This is a series that has always been laser focused on its set of stealth mechanics, with levels that are handcrafted around the idea of getting the best out of those mechanics. Is that doable in an open world setting? Sure, but there's a good chance that it would lose a lot of the focus that Splinter Cell is known for.
Thank you. Like, listen. Short rant. The Last of Us 2 was the perfect blend. Like, you have the area in Seattle, and you can just roam after that. Roam all through, get everything you need. I love doing that. That was amazing. That was really fun. But, like, no more than that. That's all I'm saying. I'm already agreeing with it. Don't do it. Don't do it more.
Sits on top of the food chain when it comes to linear games. But the studio has, of course, flirted with more open-ended design with its games in recent years. The Last of Us Part 2, for instance, featured sections with a greater focus on exploration and optional content. Though as good as that was, we wouldn't want to see a fully open world The Last of Us game. Storytelling and the pacing of the story are the heart and soul of these games, and retaining that on the same level is next to impossible in an open world experience. Would we want more semi-open world sections in The Last of Us Part 3 though? Absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. That would be awesome. But like, no more like none of this shit. Oh hell no, bro.
Naughty Dog's
hell
experiments
no. You better
with
not.
semi-open world chunks in largely linear games kicked off with Uncharted
This is like
4,
perfect the way it
while
is.
The Lost Legacy also followed in its footsteps. And in true Naughty Dog fashion, both games' open-ended sections were excellent, featuring plenty of engaging
I actually
exploration
remember this
and
part.
side
This
content.
isn't like
A
stamped
fully
into my
open
brain.
world
Running up the
Uncharted,
mud hill.
however, would be probably the worst thing in the world.
Thank you.
And we're not only just slightly exaggerating. This is a series that's known first and foremost for its cinematic set pieces and its breakneck
This would be some of the
action.
dumbest shit
Turn
of
Uncharted
all
into
time
an
if they made this
open
show.
world game, and you lose almost all of that. At which point, it's not really an Uncharted game anymore, is it?
It's charted because it would be ass. I
Portal.
don't know. Oh shit, yeah. Actually, I played. I finished Portal 1 for the first time of like over a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I had a blast. Haven't beaten the second one yet, but I will be doing that. But I agree, would be shitty open world. Who made this list though? Who just sat down and said, "What's the worst combination we can make?"
If decide
Like,
to
who
make
did
another
this?
Portal game again, it's highly unlikely that it would decide to make it open world. But if for some bizarre reason it does come to that decision, it'd be hard to see how that would benefit the franchise in any way. Portal and Portal 2 have received non-stop praise for how densely they are packed with ingenious puzzles and tight, handcrafted space.
Yeah, these puzzles made me
and
feel
that,
smart as hell when I
would
finished
argue,
them.
is what Portal should always be about.
I mean, what does that mean? I must be smart as
Half-Life.
hell.
Moving
I
on
need to
from
go back
one
and play the
Valve
first
franchise to
Half-Life, and then
next,
I need to replay
Half-Life
Half-Life
is
2,
yet
and then I need to
another
play the other
series that will
episodes
lose a
because
lot
I
of itself
only
if
played
it ever
2.
did design to abandon its linear roots. This is a series that has consistently emphasizing story and storytelling that is blended with
nostalgia's
incredibly
crazy,
designed
but
linear
yeah, fuck
gameplay
open world
in a
for
way
this.
that very few other franchises do. Admittedly, there is still a way to make that kind of formula work in a more open-ended structure. Just look at how perfectly Metro Exodus struck that balance as an example. But Half-Life feels like the sort of franchise that will always be at its best when it's delivering guided, authored experiences.
Yes, it would. Thank you very much.
Dishonored.
It's been
Honestly,
forever
until
since I
quite
played Dishonored,
recently,
yo.
if someone floated the idea of an open-world Dishonored game, plenty of people would probably want to see something like that happen.
I wouldn't.
Recent events, however, have massively shaken our collective confidence in Arkane's ability to craft a compelling open-world
Oh wait, this
experience.
Arcane.
Redfall doesn't excel
yeah,
in
Redfall.
any of
Holy
the ways
shit.
you'd expect an Arcane title to, but it also doesn't do the whole open world thing very well. So if the studio did ever get around to making a Dishonored 3, we'd much rather just see a game that
Yeah,
sticks
just
to
keep
the
it.
immersive
What's wrong
sim
with
framework
linear
of its
gaming?
predecessors.
I'm gonna say some more about this after the list because
Wolfenstein.
what's happening with people just
At
wanting
this
everything
point,
open,
it's
yo?
hard to say if we'll ever even get a new Wolfenstein game, but if we do, hopefully it won't be an open
I
world
have never
title.
played a Wolfenstein
The
game in
series
my
tried
life.
its hand at semi-open world structure with Wolfenstein Youngblood, which ended up being one of the game's many issues. With the New Order, the Old Blood, and the New Colossus, the franchise delivered 3 excellent linear, narrative-driven shooters. And if Machine Games did ever get around to making a Wolfenstein 3, we'd want to take that same approach. Max Payne.
I really need to play Max Payne. I heard
Like
they're doing a
couple of
remake,
other
but I don't know.
franchises that we've spoken about here, Max Payne is a series that puts a ton of emphasis on narrative, and while you can obviously tell compelling stories in an open-world game, it's next to impossible to do it while maintaining the kind of pacing that a Max Payne game needs to have.
This looks like the
A
John
healthy
Wick
blend
game
of riveting
I
cinematics
wanted,
and slick
but
and
they
adrenaline-fueled
haven't delivered
shootouts
yet.
in tightly designed levels is what Max Payne should always be. Thankfully, with Remedy's upcoming remake of the first 2 games,
Okay, yeah.
this is exactly what we're
I
going
will
to
wait
get.
to play it in because I don't want to play it and then the remake
Hey,
comes
did
out.
you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick
Okay,
around,
cool.
drop
I
it.
didn't mean to click on no damn Lego drive. I agree though. Like, I don't know why people always go, "Oh man, they just need to make an open world." Like the new Wolverine game coming out from Insomniac. Somebody was like, "Yo, I hope it's open world, so we can drive around on Wolverine's motorcycle and do what? What are you gonna do? He's gonna be walking around slashing civilians? No. Is he gonna be finding willing street thugs to fight all over the city like Spider-Man? No. Is he really gonna be driving all across New York City on a motorcycle and you expect that transversal to be fun like Spider-Man? No. Like, I think that gaming companies fear that their game will not have replayability if they don't do open world games. But in my opinion, take it from the person that just sat through Resident Evil 4 remake 3 to 4 times in a row playing the story. You don't have to make your game open world for it to be replayable. All you have to do, give us incentive to collect things. Like in Resident Evil 4 Remake, you have the incentive to collect those jewels and sell them so you can buy more stuff. Give incentive for us to go back to an area to collect things. Something's new there, or hey, there's a mission where a new boss is there if you want to go back and check that out and get some more money. Resident Evil Village did it pretty good too, but Resident Evil 4 always gonna do it better. So like just give us incentive for things like that. Like I said earlier, the biggest problem with Elden Ring for me was the open world system. The fact that I can go forward and fight like a really difficult boss and then come back to the area with the weaker bosses and just stomp them. I heavily preferred Sekiro or Dark Souls 3, where I fight at my level and it stays hard. And sometimes I fight above my level, but I can never come back and be like, oh yeah, you were a dwarf. Like, nah, man, unless, you know, you beat the dancer really early. In that case, you kind of deserve that. But you know, besides that, I don't know. I'm not against open world games, but I kind of am, because every time I hear about a game being open world, I kind of just mark it off my list. But then again, I am playing Red Dead Redemption 2. But that's different though, because these games, they have a purpose for their open world. You know, GTA has a purpose for its open world. Spider-Man has a purpose for its open world. Spider-Man would not be good without an open New York and you being able to swing all over it. GTA would not be good without having this vast land, because driving is fun in the game. In Red Dead Redemption, there's so many areas, so many missions, there's so much going on there. It is worth the open world. So yeah, my opinion is correct, and if you disagree, your ass.